Hi guys, this is our week 4 video, and today you will participate in a close read of rocks, minerals, and soil. For the end of this 5-week unit, just to get you guys familiar, you are going to be becoming real life geologists studying rocks and minerals, and you're actually going to create a rock and mineral museum display. So as you're reading these texts, make sure you keep that in the back of your head. For today's lesson, we will be doing a first read and a second read of our text. Yesterday, you should have introduced yourself to the unit by going over some key vocabulary words. We're also going to do a preview of that today as well. For today's lesson, you will need your rocks, minerals, and soil in your DCPS packet, a pen or a pencil, and your KWL chart also found in your packet. Let's go over our learning targets for today. Today, your learning target is, I can close read Chapter 1 of Rocks, Minerals, and Soil by responding to questions about the text with text-based evidence. Go ahead and take about 1 minute to complete the following chart. I want you to focus on the know column and the wonder column. So what are some things you already know about rocks and minerals? And then secondly, what do you wonder about rocks and minerals? Take 1 minute to complete your chart now. About 30 more seconds. Finishing up in about 7. All right. So now that we have some ideas of what we already know about rocks and minerals and some questions, let's move on. So again, yesterday you should have introduced yourself to the following unit by exploring some of the vocabulary words. Let's quickly review those. So our first vocab word is a geologist. A geologist is someone who studies the earth and what it's made of, as seen in this picture here. For example, Xavier wanted to be a geologist so he could study how earthquakes and volcanoes affect the earth. Our second vocab word is mineral. A mineral is a solid that is formed in the earth and is made up of one type of element. Here are some pictures of some possible minerals. And a example might be, the country has a great wealth of minerals, silver having been found to bring in a lot of profit. In this case, silver is a type of mineral. Our last vocab word is depend on. Depend on is basically when you rely or you actually need something really, really bad. So for instance, a tree depends on water to live. You also might say, my mother must depend on her walker to help when she needs to move around the house. All right. Now, again, we still want to figure out again what exactly does a geologist do, because again, at the end of this unit, you will be becoming a real life geologist. So we're going to quickly watch a video to go over this. As you're watching, think again, what is the job of a geologist?
Earth science is a subject most of us study in school, but many people make a career out of it. They're called geologists. The work done by these scientists affects all of us. From finding mineral deposits to predicting weather conditions, they help give us a better understanding of our world. The Earth is so big that geologists specialize in different areas. Some study fossils. Others investigate volcanoes, trying to predict when they will erupt. And marine geologists work with explorers to observe the ocean floor. Even the construction industry counts on geologists to help with the building of dams and tunnels. Advances in technology make the geologist's job more interesting every day. For instance, 3D imaging can help find new sources for oil. If you'd like to dig up more information on geologists, go to acinet.org. You can also unearth information on other careers. I'm Lily with Work It. Thanks for watching.
All right, so again, that should have gave you a little bit more of an idea of what geologists actually do and how that connects with our text. Today, rocks, minerals, and soil. So for our first read, you will have 6 minutes. The purpose of our first read is you will add actually interesting facts that you learn about rocks and minerals from this chart. So you will need not only your text, but of course your KWL chart. I'm going to set 6 minutes on our timer for you to read our text. As you're reading, make sure you're also annotating the text and adding to our learn section. Your 6 minutes starts now. All right, about 2 more minutes. All right, for our second read, we're not going to focusing on finding evidence from the text to support our answers as I go through each of the paragraphs. All right, here are paragraphs 1 and 2 chunked. Again, I will be modeling how to read this and thinking aloud while we also answer text-dependent questions. Rocks, minerals, and soil make up our solid earth. We depend on them every day. I'm going to actually underline. Our vocab word. Basically, that's saying that we use rocks and minerals every day. We use them in probably more ways than we know. I'm sure the text will tell us more about that. We use rocks, for instance. Oh, here it comes in all of our streets and highways. So I'm going to underline that because that is an example of how we actually use rocks and minerals. I'm going to think back to my title. My title is called Rocks, Minerals, and Soil. And every time I find things that point to the idea of rocks, minerals, and soil, I'm going to underline that because it tells us more about that. Our homes, buildings also contain rock. Okay. Minerals play a big role in our lives too. Okay, I'm going to underline that. That tells us what this paragraph is going to be about, what they are in our lives for. Coins and cell phones, computers, and glass all make use of minerals. Whoa, I didn't know that. I'm actually going to put an exclamation point. That's very interesting. Wires that carry electricity to our cities and towns contain minerals. So do pencils and toothpaste. So our question here, what are 2 to 3 different ways that people use or interact with rocks and minerals? Well, I know from my reading that it says that we actually use them in our streets and highways. I also saw that in the second paragraph, they're actually found in our cell phones and computers. Who would have thought that? So I'm going to say, according to the text, different ways that people use or interact with rocks and minerals is, and that beginning comes from the question, is we use rocks in our highways and homes have rocks. That definitely has evidence from the text and answers it completely. Let's move on to the next part. Whatever their size, rocks share one thing in common. They all consist of minerals. I'm actually going to underline that part because it actually shows me that minerals are found in rocks. Most rocks contain 2 or more minerals. Sometimes, though, a single mineral makes up a rock. Minerals in many rocks are easy to see, but minerals can be tiny as well. So this tells me about more what they look like. Some are big and some are small. our text question is, according to the text, what are rocks made of? Well, we know that consists means made of or includes, so it means rocks are made up of minerals. So my answer is going to be, according to the text, rocks are made of minerals. Notice how I have this section right from the text and I included my question in my answer. On to paragraphs 4 and 5. Each mineral, whatever its location, has a specific chemical makeup. The chemical makeup, I'm assuming it's talking about what's inside of it. I know makeup means like what's in it, but chemicals deal with like other elements. Let's see if I'm correct. It's ingredients. Oh, okay. Yes. So chemical makeup means what's inside of a chemical. Include elements, the most basic chemicals found in all matter. So, okay, in a mineral are elements. Okay, that's what it's made of. Every mineral has a unique structure. I'm actually going to underline that. I know structure means like building, and I know unique means like special. So I'm guessing you're saying every mineral has a special building or how it's composed or made of, like a building, how its structure is set up. It stays the same whatever the mineral size. This three-dimensional shape comes from the mineral's elements. Each element has its own building blocks called atoms. I'm noticing this word element, element, element. I'm going to underline that. I'm assuming this paragraph is all about elements. I saw it here. I also saw it over here. So when each element has its own building blocks called atoms. Okay, these are other parts of an element. Let's circle that. When elements combine in a mineral, their atoms arrange themselves in a specific way. So in other words, in order for an atom, well, sometimes atoms, when they're different elements come into it, they arrange a specific way, and that's what makes it special, is how they are arranged. Okay, so what is the importance of elements that form a mineral? Oh, I remember reading that about here. So I'm going to say the importance of elements that form a mineral is they have a unique structure. So again, that's what makes them different. That's why they're so important. Now, for our independent practice today, ladies, you are going to pull back out your KWL chart, and now you're going to add 3 to 5 strong questions you wonder about rocks and minerals to your chart. So you're going to be adding any more questions you may have about rocks after we just read. Feel free to also continue to adding onto your Learn chart. What are some more things that you actually learned from this text? I learned that there are some minerals actually in pencils and computers and cell phones. Very interesting. So you can add them to this column. Don't forget to follow me on the Excel webpage, stay connected on Microsoft Teams, and of course, follow our YouTube channel, like and subscribe at KE Hanley 1. All right, be safe.